Hey everybody, Mark Edward Lewis here from cinemasound.com. Today we're going to look at a question that we get asked a lot by both members and non-members alike, and that is, should I get Pro Tools? Maybe use Audition or some other program. Should I upgrade to Pro Tools? Is Pro Tools even an upgrade for what I want to do? And that's sort of like asking, how long is a piece of string? It depends. Is the kind of work you're going to be doing conducive to Pro Tools, or is there a way to make Audition or some other program better for you? Let's take a look at that right now. So we're here in Pro Tools, and this is Pro Tools HD, which is about $1,000 a year. Now you can get Pro Tools regular stereo, and it's about, $30 a month or something like this. But one of the benefits about Pro Tools, other than it is the de facto standard for high-level professional Hollywood-grade mixing, is that it's pretty rock solid when you get the configuration right, and only when you get it right. One of the great things about it is that it loads all of the audio into RAM so that you're not using any of your hard drive space. So you can have old hard drives, not that I suggest you do, but it'll load everything into RAM for you, and as long as you've got enough RAM, you're good to go. Very, very snappy response and nearly unlimited capabilities of being able to implement plugins. I mean, that's what it's designed to do. Hundreds and hundreds of tracks, thousands and thousands of plugins, and most of the plugins that come with Pro Tools are really, really good. And if you get the support package, the support is also really quite good, although it's quite a bit longer and sometimes a little bit more involved because there's other stuff going on in Pro Tools that are very, very complicated. There's a incredibly deep routing setup that you have to deal with, but what is complicated also gives you possibility and opportunity to do things that no other program will do. In fact, Pro Tools is the only approved program to be able to do Dolby Atmos or 11.1 surround or any of these other really intense binaural third order surround sound 3D possibilities, which, if that is where we're going and what we're going to be doing here in for the foreseeable future. Also, it's compatible with all of the major hardware controller surfaces, and that also allows us to be able to do all kinds of complex routing and things of this nature where we can have buses upon buses, massive controls via voltage-controlled amplifiers and all kinds of other things, not to mention that the automation capability in it is top-notch, and again, integrated with all manner of control surfaces. It plays very, very smoothly at really, really high track counts. It works with just about every audio accelerator except for Resolve's audio accelerator because they don't want to talk to each other. Where it falls down is in value, because for most people, they don't need that kind of capability. So it's a lot of money just for something that they probably don't need. And how it implements video is really, really wonky. It only wants to see very low compression video. Otherwise, it really kind of starts having issues and things of this nature. Also, it really doesn't want to see much unless it's coming from an Avid product. If it's coming out of the Avid nonlinear editing system, then that's good. It'll be very happy. But if you're trying to get it in there from Final Cut or Resolve or heaven forbid Audition, that can be very, very difficult indeed. But this is the de facto standard. And if you want the best of the best and you're willing to put out the money and the time to be able to learn how to use this incredible program, then great. You should probably invest. Again, for the 5.1 version and higher, the HD version, it's about $1,000 a year. And for stereo, I think it's about $30 right now. So Pro Tools is the de facto standard. And if you want to use that level of situation, not only are you going to need a really fast computer, but if you want to get outside of 256 tracks, you're going to have to buy not one, but two HDX cards, each costing between $3,000 and $5,000. One card will only get you 256 tracks, which is what you have in host-based work anyway, and two will get you 512, three will get you 768, and that is as high as a single Pro Tools system will go. You can, of course, connect more than one Pro Tools system together to get all kinds of other track counts and things like this, but it's extremely expensive. And there's no guarantee that 5 years from now, your HDX card will be compatible with the current version of Pro Tools, and as we know, over the course of history, it probably won't be, and your investment will be wiped out. Now, if you're not looking to do the top-of-the-line audio editing and audio mixing, it's okay, because Adobe Audition does just about everything Pro Tools will do, except for a couple of things, Let's talk about those. So like Pro Tools, Audition came from an audio-centric background, from a program that was pretty much designed only for one kind of audio use, and it's since been expanded into the powerful digital audio workstation that it is now. Now, what I have up right now is exactly the same mix that I had in Pro Tools. You can see it's a ton of tracks, and if we go to buses, we can see that there is a ton of stuff here. Where's my slider? There it is. We've got the buses here and lots of tracks that are available to us, which it happily plays very easily on my laptop computer while I'm actually recording this video at the same time. So Audition is a very effective way of doing professional grade audio, but it's missing some things that Pro Tools doesn't have. Let's list a few. It doesn't have any hardware support. Audition and Adobe don't make any Audition accelerator hardware. You have to get that from third parties, whereas Pro Tools has the intense and incredible HDX system. That doesn't mean that you can't use Waves acceleration on it or any other kind of audio acceleration, again, except for the DaVinci, which doesn't work on anything but DaVinci, but it won't do its own because it doesn't exist. And unfortunately, Audition doesn't really do well at multi-threading if you have a multi-core computer, which most of us do. It only uses a few cores and really doesn't access or allow you access to the full potential of your computing system. Now, most programs don't do that. Pro Tools is rare in this situation, as is Logic Pro for Apple products. Most audio programs, because of the nature of streaming audio in hundreds and hundreds of tracks at the same time, that can become difficult, and Audition is no exception there. Audition has a max track count of 256 tracks, whereas Pro Tools has 750 or 768 tracks. While Audition does have some pretty strong routing capabilities with sends and auxes and buses, it's nowhere near as robust as Pro Tools, which is the king of routing capability in the box. In Audition, 5.1 is the maximum that you're going to be able to do any kind of output, unless you use Spatial Audio Designer, which will give you out to 24.2, but you could also use that in Pro Tools. However, Pro Tools can do any of these situations, and I say natively, I'll say with a tongue-in-cheek, sort of, but it will certainly do it and gives you the routing capability to do so. Although the plugins in Adobe Audition are really quite good. They don't hold a candle in general to the kinds of plugins that we get when we purchase Pro Tools, with a couple of notable exceptions, none of the least of which is the multiband compressor, which is one of the best, if not the best sounding multiband compressor in the world, as well as their tube-modeled compressor, which is absolutely stunning. I'll also note the convolution reverb that allows you very seamlessly to pull in your own just simple clap impulse responses and have it integrate those sounds into your reverb immediately, and sounds really, really wonderful. And although Audition has a really strong automation system and the ability to do 5:1 panning in a really lovely way, it doesn't really hold a candle to Pro Tools, which that's one of its primary functions, is to be able to automate faders and make things play back and record your data and all these kinds of things, trim and integrate with hardware. Now, Audition does integrate with all Pro Tools hardware when it comes to controller services. So you could use the C24 with Audition very, very well. And lastly, and sadly, Audition doesn't do MIDI yet. Very, very little MIDI implementation. And if you were looking to use music, Audition is not the program, and Pro Tools has it in spades, although I wouldn't suggest you use Pro Tools for music either. Now, what are some of the things that Audition has that Pro Tools doesn't? Well, first of all, it's cheaper. To do 5:1 in Audition, it's only $600 a year, not $1,000 a year, and you get the entire Adobe Creative Cloud along with it. Premiere Pro, Media Encoder, Photoshop, Character Designer, all of that stuff, After Effects, everything comes with it, not just an audio program. Then, of course, you have the incredible support of the Adobe family, which is one of the best customer and product support families that I've ever worked with. And unlike Pro Tools, the PC and Mac versions are almost identical in terms of workability, whereas on Pro Tools, the PC version is always kind of sucky. You have things like the Essential Sound Panel, Remix, the automatic speech alignment capabilities that Audition has that no other program in the world has. You have dynamic linking capability through all of the media capable applications in the Creative Cloud, so that conforming, when an edit happens in your Premiere Pro document, if someone sends you a new edit, it's very much easier to be able to conform your audio document, your audio session in Adobe Audition to conform with the new edit from Premiere. You also have brand new integration with Adobe Rush, so that if you're doing a lot of phone work and you want to really tune up the audio, you can import it into Premiere, dynamically link it to Audition, and you're good to go. And as I mentioned, the multiband compressor and the tube model compressor are superior to anything in Pro Tools, and anything in just about any other program. And the denoise and de-reverb and even the destructive denoising anti-noise capabilities of Audition are superior to Pro Tools by a long shot. So if you're looking to just simply clean up audio, Audition is without fail the way to go. So hopefully this has helped you understand which way you ought to go when you make your choice either to be in Audition or jump over to Pro Tools. Notice I'm saying over, not up. Hopefully it's been helpful for you. And if so, please subscribe to us here on the YouTube channel of Cinema Sound, and come visit us at cinemasound.com, where we have hundreds, if not thousands, of articles and videos to help you get that unfair competitive Hollywood advantage into your productions in the form of sound, audio, and immersion. Hopefully this has been helpful, and thank you so much for joining us. We'll hopefully see you at cinemasound.com very soon. Until then, we'll see you in post.
Even if you're stuck.